On Sunday, the Buccaneers quarterback, Jameis Winston, played fantastic against the LA Rams. He made numerous really good throws downfield. He's got great timing, man. He's really elite throwing the ball. He's great against man coverage. And I just was impressed. He threw the ball everywhere, like a bazillion times. I was like, wow, he's just throwing the ball all over this field and very successfully. Now, he made a couple throws in a tight window, so I went, that's a big-time NFL throw. And that's what we've seen from Jameis Winston over the years is flashes of brilliance. And then he falls from grace, and he's the normal guy you see on Sundays. He did have an interception that was returned for a touchdown. Kind of unfortunate, kind of a bad decision. But all in all, these are the statistics from Jameis Winston's performance on Sunday. He was 28 for 41 passing. That's a 68% completion percentage. Had 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. They were not holding back. I mean, it's not like he got there being safe. He really was throwing the ball all over the yard. They beat the Rams. The Buccaneers beat the Rams 55-40. And I think at a glance, it's easy to write this game off, actually. I know it seems silly because he had a great performance. Oh, my gosh. But that's what Jameis does. Is every once in a while, Jameis puts together a game, you go, oh, my goodness, that's a really good performance. And then again, he falls from grace, and that's who he is. Every once in a while, he has a great game, but for the most part, over the course of his career, Jameis Winston has been a disappointment. So the question about him is, can he be consistent? That is what we need to see from Jameis. Look, and I understand those criticisms of people who, the criticisms from people who don't believe in this performance. I think Jameis needs to establish himself as the guy. Right now, he's the guy for now. But Jameis Winston's contract is up at the end of this year. And, they have really, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shown us, yeah, we're not sold on Jameis either. But I think there's evidence that Jameis Winston's success is going to continue and going to keep getting better. There's a trajectory his season has followed so far. An upward trajectory, better and better and better during every single game. So at the beginning of the year, game 1, the Buccaneers versus the 49ers, I guess against the 49ers is proper English there. He had 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. It was ugly. I was like, oh, that's a bad start for Jameis. Wow. And granted, maybe the 49ers defense is fantastic, but again, even against a great defense, that's not a performance. You can never have that stat line as a quarterback and not as someone who wants to be considered an elite quarterback or a franchise quarterback. Game 2 was also ugly. The Buccaneers played the Panthers, and the Buccaneers had a really safe game plan. It looked like they didn't trust Jameis. Threw for 1 touchdown. It felt like the Buccaneers, again, their play calling is very conservative. They ran the ball a lot. The word is trust. They didn't trust Jameis with the ball. Now, week 3, they lost to the Giants. Jameis Winston lost to the Giants, but he looked a lot better. Had a 62% completion percentage, threw for 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And so you see a trend through weeks 1 through 3, steadily getting better every single game. And then, of course, week 4, he was fantastic. Lights out, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 68% completion percentage. And so it's time for me to decide, will this continue or not? Will the trend keep working upwards? Because the question about Jameis is, will he establish himself as the long-term guy that the Buccaneers should offer a contract and believe in? I'm actually going to say yes. I think he is the guy, and I think that he's on an upward trajectory that's not going to stop. I might be wrong. Happy to be wrong. But there's a reason I believe in him. It's his head coach, Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians, the Buccaneers head coach, has worked with Peyton Manning. He worked with Andrew Luck as a rookie, worked with Big Ben, worked with Carson Palmer, got Carson Palmer to have the best years of his life as a quarterback. Bruce Arians is great with quarterbacks. And not like some guru. I hate that term, quarterback guru. Yeah, Hugh Jackson was a quarterback, quote-unquote, guru. It means nothing. Bruce Arians is a no BS kind of guy. He doesn't tolerate nonsense. That's great for Jameis. He also knows his offense. And clearly, they're finally having some success. And you can really write off the first game with the 49ers and go, well, hey, there's an argument that can be made. It was his first game with a new coach. He was learning the system. It's forgivable. So will he become the guy, the long-term guy in Tampa Bay? Some would argue, Tampa Bay fans that like him might argue, he is the guy. What are you talking about, Zach? Well, again, I would say your team doesn't believe in him, because if they did, they would have given him a contract extension a long time ago. Right now, The Buccaneers do not have a contract with Jameis Winston for next year. He's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So we've seen flashes in the past, flashes of brilliance from Jameis Winston. A lot of good moments. The question about Jameis is, will it continue? If it does steadily, consistently continue, if he plays like he has the last 2 weeks, the rest of this year, then absolutely Jameis Winston is the guy and should be offered a long-term contract in Tampa Bay. I'll even give him 2 games. He can slip up for 2 more games. That's still better than a lot of other quarterbacks. But from here on out, it's got to be buttoned up really, really consistently. If he plays consistent the rest of the year, there's 12 games left for the Buccaneers. If the next 12 games, he plays 10 of them, fantastic. He's the guy, and he deserves a long-term contract in Tampa Bay. I'll track that. Guarantee you, week 17, we'll say, okay, those 12 games, we needed 10 to be good from Jameis. Did he do it or did he not? If he does, I'll stand by what I said. He's the guy. If he doesn't, I will bring down the hammer and be honest about Jameis Winston. He's not consistent enough for them to believe in. I think it's going to work. I think he is going to deliver. Great head coach. I think he can play. The talent's all there. Talent has never been the question about Jameis. Consistency has, and I think he can elevate himself and become more consistent because of his head coach, Bruce Arians. My name is Zach Schomler. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. It is my favorite thing in the entire world. And you may not know, my dream when I graduate college eventually is to do this show as my full-time job. Now, I also want to be very upfront and honest about my plan and what's going on. I recently monetized my YouTube channel. What that means is that some of my videos make money through ad revenue. Now, it's fewer than you think. A lot of my videos get claimed. But in the past, I've received donations through the form of PayPal and Patreon.com. PayPal.me/Zach Schomler, Patreon.com/Zach Schomler. So because I'm making ad revenue, it felt weird to just get donations. I wanted to give something back to the people who support me on Patreon. So now there's a reward. If you support me on Patreon, you can submit questions at the dollar level or above. You just need to give $1 a month. If you do that, you can submit questions to a pool of questions where I look at. I'll read all the questions on Patreon, and I pick the top couple every episode and read them and answer them on a segment called Ask Zach. Pick the top couple questions and answer them at the end of every single episode. Now, that's for people who want to support me with money. If you have no money to give, I totally understand. I've actually never supported anybody on Patreon. I feel kind of weird about that. I'm a broke college kid myself. I totally understand. But if you believe in me and if you believe in my dream and still want to help me, one thing you can do is help me grow by telling your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow by telling your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. Guys, thank you so much. I know that was a long spiel. I really appreciate it, and hope you have a great day.